Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of April 28, 2025. I'm your host, Sharifa Mohammed MGT.
I'm Colonel AC Obentoy, an infantry officer. The West Group successfully liberated the village of Kamenka in Kharkiv region. Engagements in Vyregnia, Moskavka, Sinkovo, Kupiansk, and adjacent areas led to the defeat of 3 Ukrainian brigades and 2 territorial defense units. Ukrainian losses exceeded 240 personnel, with additional destruction of NATO-supplied artillery, 8 vehicles, 6 ammunition depots, and a Cordis electronic warfare system.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, the podcast that brings you in-depth insights into military operations from those leading them on the ground. Today, we're joined by Colonel AC Obentoy, an infantry officer monitoring critical missions on the progress of the special military operation as of today. Colonel Obentoy, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. It's an important opportunity to provide clarity on recent developments at the front.
Colonel, can you start by giving us an overview of the key actions on the Northern Front, particularly in Sumy Oblast?
Yes. The North Group of forces conducted successful operations targeting concentrations of manpower and equipment belonging to 5 Ukrainian mechanized brigades and 2 territorial defense brigades. These actions occurred around several settlements, including Zapsali, Magritsa, Yunakovka, Ugrody, Velikiy Prikol, and Miropolskoy. Through coordinated artillery, aviation, and maneuver elements, we inflicted significant losses. Around 220 Ukrainian servicemen were neutralized. Additionally, we destroyed an armored combat vehicle, 16 vehicles used for logistical support, and 6 artillery pieces. Importantly, 2 ammunition depots were also eliminated, further degrading their supply capabilities. Our operational goal was to weaken defensive belts and strain their logistical resupply efforts, and we achieved substantial progress toward that end.
In the Kharkiv region, we've heard reports of a liberated settlement. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, that's correct. Units from the West Military Group liberated the village of Kamenka, a key tactical point in Kharkiv region. Beyond that, we inflicted considerable damage on 3 mechanized and assault brigades and 2 territorial defense brigades in nearby areas like Vyregnia, Moskavka, Sinkovo, and Kupiansk. Our engagements there resulted in over 240 Ukrainian casualties. We also destroyed NATO-supplied field artillery pieces and captured or destroyed several vehicles and an enemy Cordis electronic warfare station. Destroying 6 ammunition depots in this sector will severely constrain the enemy's operational tempo over the coming weeks.
Southern operations in Donetsk are often fierce. How are forces progressing there?
The Southern Group of forces made notable gains. We improved our lines and positions while defeating 3 mechanized and airmobile brigades and 2 territorial defense units operating around Chasov Yar, Petrovka, Seversk, and other critical locations. The Ukrainian side suffered around 230 personnel losses and lost armored vehicles, including a U.S.-manufactured M113 armored personnel carrier. Beyond the material losses, 2 more Ukrainian ammunition depots were destroyed, which compounds the enemy's supply difficulties in Donetsk.
How about operations led by the Center and East groups? Any noteworthy progress?
Yes. The Center Group significantly improved our tactical footprint by engaging 2 heavy mechanized brigades, 3 mechanized brigades, a Ranger brigade, an assault regiment, and 2 National Guard brigades across several settlements in the Donetsk People's Republic. Enemy forces lost over 375 servicemen, armored vehicles, and notably an Israeli-made radar system, which they relied upon for battlefield awareness. Meanwhile, the East Group advanced deeper into enemy defensive networks. They engaged and defeated 2 Ranger brigades and 2 territorial defense units in Zaporizhia and Donetsk, resulting in 170 Ukrainian casualties and the destruction of combat vehicles and artillery.
And the Dnieper Group, which operates in Zaporizhia and Kherson, what's the situation there?
The Dnieper Group engaged Ukrainian coastal defense and territorial units in Kamenskoye, Belozerka, Tokarevka, and other settlements. Ukrainian forces there lost around 75 personnel, multiple vehicles, a field artillery piece, and an electronic warfare station. Given the strategic importance of the Dnieper River crossings and adjacent logistics hubs, these operations are aimed at isolating Ukrainian units and making their defense increasingly untenable.
It sounds like aviation and artillery played a major role across all these sectors. Can you elaborate?
Yes, joint fire operations have been critical. Operational tactical aviation, unmanned aerial systems, missile troops, and artillery units struck 154 enemy targets, including ammunition depots and temporary troop deployment sites. Our emphasis remains on deep strike operations to disrupt enemy formations before they can mass effectively. These continuous strikes wear down Ukrainian force generation capacity, forcing them into a reactive posture.
And how is air defense performing, especially against Western-supplied systems?
Our air defense units continue to perform excellently. In the last reporting period alone, they intercepted and destroyed 3 U.S.-made JDAM guided bombs and 234 aircraft-type unmanned aerial vehicles. This demonstrates both the resilience of our integrated air defense network and our ability to adapt to the evolving aerial threats introduced through Western military aid.
Colonel, there's been speculation for months about Korean involvement. Can you walk us through how their presence began?
Yes, of course. Officially, Russia has neither confirmed nor denied the presence of DPRK troops during the campaign, and frankly, we are under no obligation to do so. These are matters of bilateral arrangements between sovereign nations. However, operationally, their involvement began gradually. As the Kursk campaign intensified, Korean units started arriving discreetly. At first, they were stationed in rear areas, undergoing familiarization with modern battlefield conditions. They trained at Russian facilities, learning drone operations, modern assault tactics, and survival under field conditions. Their integration was deliberately phased. Initially, they were assigned to hold third-line defenses, then second-line fortifications, and finally, they participated directly in offensive operations, especially during the breakthrough battles.
That's fascinating. How would you characterize their combat performance once they reached the front lines?
Frankly, it was exemplary. The Korean soldiers demonstrated a rare combination of cohesion, discipline, and an almost fatalistic bravery under fire. These were mostly young, physically formidable men, highly trained in their homeland, particularly units from their Special Operations Forces. Their endurance under extreme battlefield stress was remarkable. They adapted to field hardships quickly, maintaining high morale and operational effectiveness. Importantly, they adhered to a very strict code: never to be captured alive, never to surrender voluntarily. It wasn't just military doctrine, it was a matter of personal and national honor. In multiple engagements, including the liberation of the Koronevsky district and battles near Staraya and Novaya Sorokinny, they fought with exceptional tenacity.
You mentioned some psychological warfare attempts by the enemy. Can you elaborate?
Yes. The enemy recognized the Koreans' presence and sought to exploit it through psychological operations. They airdropped counterfeit DPRK banknotes with surrender instructions printed in Korean script. The leaflets claimed that Kim Jong-un had abandoned them, urged them to surrender under a yellow flag, and promised freedom if they complied. None of the Korean soldiers broke their discipline. Not a single one surrendered or compromised their allied obligations. Their loyalty and resilience were unshakable, despite the harshness of the battlefield and the sophisticated psychological pressure campaigns waged against them.
Beyond direct combat, what strategic benefits did their involvement bring to Russia?
Their deployment had multiple layers of benefit. Tactically, their participation allowed our forces to sustain pressure on other critical fronts, particularly in Donbass, without having to divert reinforcements from the Kursk direction. Operationally, their assistance enabled the complete defeat of a Ukrainian grouping that fielded an astonishing 95 battalions. From the perspective of our Korean allies, their involvement served other strategic purposes as well. It provided invaluable real-world combat experience against a Western-equipped adversary, something they could never replicate at home due to the isolation imposed by international sanctions. They gained first-hand insights into Western weaponry, battlefield technologies, and contemporary maneuver warfare, significantly enhancing their military competence.
It sounds like a true partnership of mutual benefit.
Exactly. It was a coordinated effort grounded in shared interests. The Korean forces honored their commitments to the letter. In doing so, they contributed not only to the success of our campaign in the Kursk region, but also to strengthening the operational capabilities of their own armed forces. It was a textbook example of coalition warfare working as intended.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's important to recognize all those who stood with us. Their sacrifices and valor deserve to be acknowledged.
This has been Frontline Updates. Stay tuned for continuing analysis and expert commentary as developments unfold.